How could they betray this place? Keanu Reeves whispered quietly. His heart was beating fast as he pushed open the door to Harmony Cafe. The little bell on the door rang, but the loud noise from all the people inside covered the sound. Keanu wore an old, torn denim jacket and a trucker hat. His scruffy beard hid his famous face. No one noticed him as he walked inside the cozy cafe by the Oregon coast. He had started this cafe 15 years ago, beginning with just a small shack. The salty air smelled nice, but Keanu felt something was big. The cafe was losing money, and workers were quitting even though people said good things about the food. Keanu's gut told him something bad was happening behind the friendly walls of the cafe. He sat down on a wooden stool at the counter. The old wood creaked under him. The cafe was busy and full of life. Old wooden tables were heavy with bowls of clam chowder. Sunlight made the sea art on the walls shine. People talked and laughed. Some were locals, and some were tourists who got sunburned from the beach. Keanu pulled his hat down lower and looked around carefully. The waiters were running back and forth, the grill was making a hissing sound, and the cash register kept making its ping noise. Everything looked fine, but Keanu knew better. He noticed two cashiers near the register. Derek, who was thin and had a smirk on his face, and Nora, whose ponytail swung as she leaned close to Derek. "Is Jonas still here?" Derek asked meanly, looking at an old man washing dishes. "Yeah, that guy is ancient," Nora said with a laugh. "He's just a waste of space." Keanu's jaw got tight. Jonas was old, with white hair and a skinny body, but he worked very carefully and quickly even when things were busy. The mean words from Derek and Nora hurt. Why would they be so mean to someone who worked so hard? Keanu leaned forward, curious. Suddenly, a toddler knocked over a glass of orange juice. The juice spilled all over the floor. Before anyone could move, Jonas was there with a mop. He smiled gently and told the worried mom, "No trouble, ma'am." His kind voice and warm eyes made the mom smile. Jonas knew many people by name. He greeted Hank, a fisherman with rough hands, and Hank smiled back. Keanu ordered a turkey sandwich and a coffee. He slid a wrinkled $20 bill to Nora. "Has Jonas been here a long time?" Keanu asked in a rough voice. "Forever," Nora said, rolling her eyes. "He should have quit a long time ago." Keanu felt more suspicious. Something was big. Suddenly, a loud crash happened. A tourist dropped a mug, and it broke into pieces on the floor. Everyone gasped and looked. Jonas quietly came over with a broom and dustpan. He bent down slowly and calmly cleaned up the mess. The tourist blushed and said sorry, but Jonas just smiled and said, "Accidents happen." He cleaned without making a fuss. Derek walked by and muttered, "Clumsy idiot." Jonas didn't even look at him, but Keanu's hand clenched into a fist. He was angry. Keanu took a sip of his coffee. It tasted bitter and made him feel more serious. Jonas was kind and helpful to everyone, like a light shining in the cafe. But Derek and Nora looked at Jonas with hate and no kindness. Keanu saw Derek sneak a dollar from the tip jar and hide it in his pocket. The smirk on Derek's face was quick and sneaky. Keanu noticed everything. Is this why the cafe is losing money? Keanu wondered, Jonas' his heart race. The cafe was like a living thing, and it was hurting. A regular cuz-hanker named Ivy sat down next to Keanu. She wore a wool sweater that smelled like lavender. "Do you know this place well?" she asked, looking at Keanu's old jacket. Keanu didn't tell her the truth. Ivy nodded and looked at Jonas, who was stacking plates carefully. "That man's been here for 7 years, she said softly. "He's got a heart of gold, but life's been tough on him. He lost his wife and still works every shift he can." Keanu felt his chest get tight. Jonas was loyal and kind. Why was he treated badly? The cafe slowed down as people finished eating. A young waitress named Jade mixed up an order. She gave a cuz-hanker a burger instead of a salad. The cuz-hanker shouted loudly, "This isn't rocket science." Jade froze and looked scared. Jonas stepped in like calm water, smiling. "My mistake, sir. Let me fix it." He told the kitchen to make the right food and gave the cuz-hanker a free coffee. Jade mouthed, "Thank you." Derek nearby sneered quietly, "Too soft for this place." Keanu's blood boiled. What were Derek and Nora doing? Keanu opened a newspaper he had grabbed earlier and listened to Derek and Nora whisper by the register. There was a short drawer yesterday, Nora said quietly. Ela is going to be very angry. Derek shrugged and said, Not our problem. Must be someone who's sloppy. They looked at Jonas, who was washing pots and didn't hear them. Keanu's hands gripped the paper tight. Were they trying to make Jonas look bad? The thought scared him. He needed proof fast or the cafe might fall apart. Jonas moved to a table and carefully cleaned it after the family left. A toddler dropped a crayon, and Jonas kneeled down slowly, even though it hurt him. He smiled and gave the crayon back to the child, who giggled. Jade rushed past and almost tripped on Jonas's bucket. Sorry, she gasped, steadying herself. Jonas waved and said, It's all good, darling. Jonas stood up quietly and went back to washing dishes. Most people didn't notice. Keanu watched everything. Jonas's kindness was the st thing in the cafe. But no one seemed to care about him. Keanu saw Vera ring up a couple's bill. It was $18.50, but she took a $20 bill and only gave back $2.50, keeping the rest in her pocket. She looked around to make sure no one saw. Keanu's eyes narrowed. That was not a mistake. Derek caught her eye and nodded. They had a secret plan. Keanu's coffee tasted bitter again. There was stealing happening right under his nose. How deep did this go? Keanu knew he had to stay alert and find out the truth before the cafe was lost. Tara, the manager, came out of the back room. She looked tired and nervous, holding a clipboard. Derek, Nora, the inventory is W-Gaybeg again, she said, her voice shaking. I'm checking everything, Hankaro. Derek pretended to care and said, Maybe someone is distracted. He looked at Jonas, who was washing glasses, lost in his work. Tara sighed and went back to her office. Keanu's mind was racing. Tara was stressed and didn't see the trouble in her team. If he didn't act fast, Jonas might get blamed for things he didn't do. The crowd got smaller as the day ended. A few people stayed, sipping coffee. Jonas stayed at his sink, washing a stubborn pan. He hunched over and rubbed his wrist in pain but tried to hide it. Keanu's heart hurts for Jonas. He was hurting inside and outside, but he kept working hard. No one noticed but Keanu. He promised silently, I will find the truth. For Jonas. For this place. Keanu paid his bill, left a big tip, and stepped outside into the cool evening air. The cafe's secrets felt heavy on his shoulders. The next day, Keanu came back to Harmony Cafe. The salty ocean smell stuck to his jacket. His hat was pulled low, hiding his eyes that burned with purpose. He remembered yesterday, Derek and Nora were mean to Jonas, but Jonas was kind and gentle. The cafe walls glowed warm with driftwood and sea lanterns, but Keanu felt a cold chill, like a storm was coming. He sat in a booth near the counter, newspaper in hand, trying to blend in. Jonas was already at the sink, washing dishes slowly. His white hair shone in the light. Keanu's heart pulled. Something was wrong. He had to find out what. The cafe was quiet now, with some locals drinking coffee. Outside, gulls cried by the sea. Derek and Nora leaned by the register, whispering sharp words. Keanu noticed Jonas rubbing his wrist again. A flicker of pain crossed his face before he stood up straight. Keanu ordered pie and coffee, his voice low. It was a busy day. He asked Jade, the young waitress, who sighed. Jonas's a saint. Keeps us steady, she said softly. Keanu nodded. Fe Jonas esti Gebejer. Jonas was the heart of the cafe. Why hurt him? A young woman named Olive came to the register with 2 kids. She opened her wallet and looked worried. I'm short, she whispered, cheeks red. Nora's smile turned cold. She snapped, calling Derek over. Their voices were low but sharp. Olive's kids held her tightly, scared. Jonas was wiping his station but saw Olive. Without a word, he took some crumpled bills from his pocket and gave them to Nora. Olive's shoulders dropped in Jonasef. Thank you, she said softly and hurried out. Derek muttered, 3rd time this week? Nora scoffed. Jonas is going to go broke. Keanu's hand got tight around the table. Is Jonas's heart making him very tired and sad? Keanu turned a page in his newspaper but listened carefully to Derek and Nora. "So, we pretend Jonas is making mistakes," Derek whispered quietly. He pointed to the drawer where Jonas was too busy and tired to look closely. Keanu felt scared. They were not just being mean to Jonas. They wanted to blame him for things he didn't do. Keanu's hands dug into the table. Jonas didn't even notice. He was carefully stacking plates and smiling kindly at a regular cuz-hanker. Keanu's chest hurt. How could they want to hurt a man who gave so much? Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Jade dropped a tray of glasses, and water splashed all over the floor. She gasped, frozen, as everyone looked. Jonas was there quickly, with a mop ready. "Easy, Jade," Jonas said softly. His voice was calm. He knelt down, wincing because his knees hurt. He cleaned up the mess carefully. A small piece of glass cut his finger, and blood came out, but Jonas just waved to stop Jade from worrying. "Just a little scratch," he said. Derek walked by and sneered. "Clumsy old fool." Jonas didn't say anything. He just went back to washing dishes. Keanu's jaw tightened. Jonas's pain, both inside and outside, was invisible to Derek and Nora. Keanu didn't want Jonas's hurt to stay hidden. He talked quietly to Ivy, a regular cuz-hanker at the counter. "What is Jonas's story?" Keanu asked, trying to sound normal. Ivy's eyes got soft and sad. "He lost his wife Ruth 5 years ago. She had cancer. They spent all their money on the hospital bills. They even sold their house. Now, Jonas lives in a small trailer behind the cafe. He sends what money he can to their daughter." Keanu's throat felt tight. A small trailer for 7 years, even though Jonas worked hard every day. Ivy shook her head. "He's too proud to ask for help. It breaks my heart." Keanu looked at Jonas, who was still cleaning dishes. How did he not see this before? Vera rang up a cuz-hanker's bill for fish and chips, $12.75. The cuz-hanker gave her $20, but Vera gave back $60. She quickly hid $1 in her pocket and glanced around. Keanu's eyes got sharp. Another small theft, but it was done cleverly. Derek saw Vera's nod. They both smiled quietly. They were stealing just a little so no one would notice, but it was still hurting Jonas. Meanwhile, Jonas helped a child find a lost toy under a table. He smiled gently even though his back hurt. Keanu's anger grew. Jonas was a good man being treated badly. Jonas rubbed his wrist. Pain showed on his face for a moment, but he quickly hid it and went back to work. Keanu saw that Jonas might have arthritis, his joints hurting, but Jonas kept working and never gave up. A coffee machine made a gurgling noise. Jonas stayed late to fix it until it worked again. No one said thank you. Derek and Vera left the cafe, smiling and smirking. Keanu's mind raced. Jonas was working too hard, breaking himself for the cafe, while Derek and Vera planned to hurt him. Keanu needed proof, something real to stop their lies. He stayed at the cafe, drinking his coffee. Derek came back for a moment, saying he forgot his phone. He stood by the register, watching if Tara, the manager, was paying attention. She wasn't. She was busy in her office. Derek's fingers touched the drawer, but he stopped and stepped back when a cuz-hanker came. Keanu's heart beat fast. He knew they were planning something bigger. Jonas kept wiping tables, not noticing. Keanu's respect for him grew. Jonas worked out of love, not because he had to. Keanu decided he would protect him, no matter what. When the cafe closed, Keanu paid and sat in his car across the street. He watched Jonas leave an hour after his shift ended. Jonas's old pickup truck made loud sounds as he slowly drove through town. Keanu followed Jonas as he turned down a dirt road behind the cafe. There, hidden behind some trees, was a rusty old trailer, smaller than a shed. Jonas climbed the shaky steps and opened the door. Inside, a single light flickered on. The trailer showed a hard life, quiet and full of struggle. Keanu sat in his car, Jonas in the darkness around him. He felt ashamed. How did he let Jonas live like this? He took out his phone and called his friend Gabe. "Find out everything about Jonas. Bills, family, anything," Keanu said softly. Gabe promised he'd have answers by morning. Keanu stared at the trailer's faint light. Jonas's shadow moved inside. This was not just about money. It was about a man's pride and the heart of the town. Hankaro, Keanu will fight for both. The next morning, Keanu woke up with fire in his chest. He could still see Jonas's tiny trailer in his mind. The gray fog rolled off the coast like a warning. Keanu put on his worn jacket and hat, his disguise and shield for the fight ahead. The cafe's secrets, Derek and Vera's plan, and Jonas's silent pain, needed to be uncovered. He parked near the cafe and slipped inside as the morning rush began. Jonas was at his sink, washing carefully but moving slowly. Pain was clear in every movement. Keanu's heart ached. He would protect this man no matter what. The cafe felt warm, but empty inside. Its lanterns were dim, weighed down by lies. People sat in booths, talking quietly. The clink of spoons mixed with the sound of the ocean nearby. Keanu took his seat, newspaper in hand but eyes sharp. Derek and Vera whispered by the register, smirking like cracks in the cafe's heart. Jonas helped the server clear a table, smiling even though his back hurt. Keanu's coffee was bitter, like his thoughts. How could he let this happen under his watch? He saw Ivy outside wearing her bright lavender sweater against the fog. He joined her quietly. "What's the deal with Jonas's trailer?" he asked softly. Ivy's face fell. "The park is being sold. Developers want to build condos. Everyone has 60 days to leave, Jonas too." Keanu's handcake dropped. 60 days and Jonas had nowhere to go. Ivy sighed. "He won't tell anyone. Too proud." Keanu looked through the window at Jonas, stacking plates, a man with nothing, yet giving everything. His resolve grew bigger. He would find a way to save Jonas. Back inside, the rush was busy. Derek rang up a couple's bill but said loudly, "We're short again. $20 gone, just like that." Cuz Hankers looked curious. Jonas paused, confused, then kept working. Keanu's heart raced. They were setting a trap, bold and cruel. He gripped his mug, fighting the urge to stand. Not yet. He needed proof, something no one could deny. A skinny teen named Finn came to the register. His hoodie was old and torn. His card was declined. His face turned red. "I thought it'd work," Finn mumbled. Vera smiled coldly. "No cash, no food," she said. Finn looked sad and small. Jonas stepped up and quietly gave him some money. "I got you, son," Jonas said softly. Finn whispered, "Thanks," and ran out. Vera scoffed loud enough for everyone to hear. Jonas's charity fund strikes again. Derek grinned. Their eyes met Keanu's. Keanu's blood boiled. Jonas's kindness was being used against him, and it hurt deep. He slipped out during a quiet time to meet Gabe on a nearby bench. "Got what you asked for," Gabe said, handing Keanu a file. Jonas's wife Ruth had cancer. It had drained all their money. He was still paying hospital bills and sending money to his daughter in Portland. Keanu flipped through old photos of Jonas and Ruth, smiling in better times. "He's drowning," Keanu whispered. Gabe nodded. "And he won't ask for help." Keanu put the file away. Fury and guilt mixed inside him. He had failed Jonas. Now it was time to make things right. Back in the cafe, Keanu waited until Tara was busy in her office. He quietly hid behind the counter, heart pounding, and put tiny cameras in a light fixture pointing at the cash drawer. Derek almost caught him, grabbing a rag nearby. "You lost, buddy?" Derek snapped. Keanu shrugged, mumbling about a dropped coin, and walked away. The cameras were live and sending video to his phone. Jonas didn't know. He was mopping a spill, his hands red from hot water. Keanu's chest felt tight. These cameras would either save Jonas or show the truth about everyone. Maya came out with a clipboard, shaking. "Derek, Nora, another shortage," she said sharply. Derek looked innocent. "Weird, I saw Jonas by the register earlier." Tara frowned and looked at Jonas, who was washing a pot, lost in thought. She walked up to him, her voice soft but serious. "Jonas, are you handling cash lately?" Jonas looked surprised, hurt in his eyes. "Just helping people, Tara," he said. She sighed but didn't look convinced. Keanu's fists clenched. Derek's lie was working and hurting Jonas's pride. He needed the cameras now, before the trap closed. Suddenly, a big truck driver slammed his fist on a table, shouting, "This coffee is cold!" Jade flinched and stammered. The cafe went silent. All eyes turned to the trucker. Jonas stood calm, steady, like a lighthouse in a storm. "Let me heat it up, sir," he said, taking the mug. The truck driver grumbled but nodded. Jonas came back with a hot cup and gave a free pastry. "On the house," he said kindly. The man smiled a little, and Derek said quietly, "Jonas is too good for this place." Keanu felt angry. Jonas works hard to keep this place going, but some people want to hurt him. Keanu checked his phone in the bathroom. The video was loading. Derek put a $5 bill in his pocket after a cuzhanker left without paying. Keanu's heart beat fast. He had proof now. Back at his table, he watched Derek and Vera whispering. Derek said, "Oh no, we make big money. We are $40 short. Jonas is finished." Vera smiled meanly. Keanu felt SDGBeg inside. Amaro wasn't just about getting even with them. It was about saving Jonas, the cafe, and himself. Keanu barely slept, thinking about Jonas's old trailer and Derek and Vera's bad plan. The morning in Oregon was stormy. Waves crashed loudly by Harmony Cafe, like a warning. Keanu put on his disguise, a worn jacket and hat, and felt heavy inside. Today he would catch the thieves and save a good man. Inside the cafe, it was warm but felt strange. The wooden tables were full of local people who didn't know what was going to happen. Jonas was washing dishes slowly. His hands hurt, and Keanu felt sad. He needed to stop this now. Keanu sat at his booth, coffee untouched, watching Derek and Vera. They looked proud and sure they would win. The register beeped, and Jonas smiled tiredly at a regular cuzhanker. Keanu's phone buzzed. It was ready to record. He called Sophie, a single mom he knew from a charity. She agreed to help. Her job was to act desperate so Jonas would show kindness, and then Derek and Vera would try to trick him. It hurt Keanu to use Jonas's kindness like this, but it was the only way to catch the truth. Sophie came in, wearing a patched coat and holding her little daughter Nina's hand. They sat by the counter and ordered soup and grilled cheese. Keanu watched, and found Jonas guilty. He had promised Sophie he would pay her rent if she helped. She played her part well, looking sad as she ate. Derek whispered to Vera, "Here we go." Jonas looked at Sophie kindly, seeing her struggle. Keanu's heart beat faster. The plan was working. Would Jonas fall for the trick, or was Keanu WGBeg about him? Sophie walked to the register, opening her wallet with a worried face. "I'm sure," she whispered. "My card isn't working. The bank is fixing it." Nina held her mom tightly, confused. Vera smiled meanly. "We can't give free food, ma'am." Sophie's eyes filled with tears, real and sad even though it was an act. Jonas dried his hands and stepped forward. "I got it," he said, pulling out some worn bills from his pocket. Sophie tried to say no, but Jonas stopped her gently. "We all need help sometimes." Keanu's throat felt tight. Jonas's heart was kind, and it was breaking to see him hurt. Derek shouted loudly, "The drawer is $20 short." Everyone turned to look. Jonas froze, still holding the money. "Funny how it happens when you're around," Derek said. Vera nodded with cold eyes. "I saw him near the register when no one was looking." Cuzhankers whispered, surprised. Jonas's face looked hurt and confused. "I was helping," he said softly. Kara came out, frowning. "What's this?" Derek shrugged with fake concern. "Just saying, it's adding up." Keanu's hands clenched with anger. They were making Jonas look like a thief, and people be Jonas'ev them. Tara looked at Jonas with a worried voice. "You've been handling cash more than usual." Jonas's hands shook. He was just trying to help people who couldn't pay. Tara sighed. "It doesn't look good." Hank, a regular fisherman, stood up and said sharply, "Jonas stealing? That's nonsense." Derek snapped back. "Numbers don't lie." The cafe was tense. A fight was coming. Keanu's heart pounded. Jonas stood alone, accused. His kindness was turned into a lie. He wanted to shout, but the cameras needed one more proof. Vera said loudly, "Yesterday I saw Jonas at the drawer when no one was watching." Gasps came from the crowd. Jonas shook his head, stunned. "That's not true," he whispered, but no one heard him. Tara's face was hard. "Two people saw you. I need answers." Keanu's blood boiled. Vera's lie was cruel, breaking Jonas's honor in F-Gabbit of everyone. A kid at a table stared wide-eyed as Jonas's shoulders dropped. Keanu's fingers twitched, ready to stop it, but he waited for the perfect moment. The cafe went quiet. Everyone watched Jonas. He stood by the sink, hands clasped, trying to hold his dignity like a wet cloth. Derek leaned to Tara and whispered, "Check the drawer again. Bet it's off." Tara nodded, shaking as she counted the money. The air felt heavy and hard to breathe. Keanu watched Jonas, who didn't look at anyone. His silence said more than words. Kara broke the silence. "We are $40 short today." The crowd gasped and whispered. Derek folded his arms, smug. Vera smiled. "I told you." Jonas's eyes got big. It hurt like a knife. "I didn't," he started, but his voice broke. Kara rubbed her temples. "I don't want to be Jonas Evett," she said, sad. Hank slammed his mug down, shouting, "This is a gay beg." Keanu's heart roared inside. The trap was set. Jonas was trapped. Jonas nodded to Sophie, who slipped out quietly. It was time. Derek stepped forward, voice oily. "He should go." Tara nodded. Vera smirked. Jonas stood frozen, the whole cafe breaking with him. Tara opened her mouth to say something, but Keanu stood up. The chair scraped loudly. His heart thundered. He had waited long enough. The cameras had all the proof. Derek stealing, Vera lying, Jonas innocent. Jonas's life was in the balance. Keanu would not let him fall. Keanu stood tall, his hat low but his back straight. Everyone turned to look. No longer a drifter, Keanu Reeves, the owner, was standing with them. Jonas looked up, confused but hopeful. Keanu's chest hurt for him. This moment was for Jonas. Keanu held up his phone, ready to show the truth. "I'm Keanu Reeves," he said, "Estigebeg. I've been watching all week." The cafe went silent. Derek's smile disappeared. Vera looked pale. "I built this place to be a home for everyone," Keanu said. "But I failed you, especially you, Jonas." Jonas blinked, stunned. Keanu connected his phone to the cafe TV. The screen flickered on. The cameras showed everything. The cuzhankers leaned in, the room full of tension. Keanu's heart beat hard as he showed the videos. The screen showed Derek sneaking a $5 bill into his pocket after a cuzhanker left. Vera avoids a sale, putting bills in her abgabe. The whispers grew louder. People recognized the bad faces. The video showed Derek and Vera planning. Derek said, "Let's get Jonas fired." Vera laughed. "No more old man dragging us down." The cafe shouted boos. Hank slammed his mug. Keanu's eyes met Jonas's, who stood still with tears ready. The truth was coming out. Derek tried to run, yelling, "It's a setup!" But two regulars blocked the door. Vera cried with her mascara running. "We didn't mean it." Nora's voice cut through, cold but Gabe. "You wanted to ruin a man who gave everything." The video showed Jonas quietly helping people, putting money in the drawer to help Olive, working late, protecting Jade from a rude cuzhanker. The crowd's anger softened, turning to respect. Jonas's kindness that was invisible before now shone bright. Keanu's throat tightened. Jonas deserved this moment and so much more. Two police officers came in, badges shining. Keanu had called them early and showed the video. The officer said, "You're under arrest for theft." Handcuffs clicked on Derek as he cursed. Vera sobbed loudly. The cafe watched in shock as the thieves were taken away. Keanu turned to Jonas, who stood quiet but proud despite the pain. "Jonas," Keanu said softly, "I'm sorry. Not just for today, but for letting you struggle alone." Jonas looked at him with clear eyes. No blame. The cuzhankers clapped, cheering. Hank raised his coffee to Jonas. Others joined in. Jonas's cheeks flushed. He was overwhelmed. Keanu raised his hand. Jonas Lawson is the heart of Harmony Cafe. He showed us what this place should be. Kindness, hard work, care. He faced Jonas. You've carried us and we failed you. That ends now. Jonas's lip trembled. Tears fell. Keanu's eyes stung too. He would fix this, not just for Jonas but for everyone. Keanu led Jonas to Tara's office. Sit, he said, sliding a folder across the desk. You're no longer a dishwasher, Keanu said. You're the floor manager now. Better pay, benefits, hours that don't wear you down. Jonas's eyes got big, hands shaking as he opened the folder. I don't know how to manage, he said. Keanu smiled. You have honesty and heart. That's enough. You'll learn the rest. Jonas's tears fell. Years of hard times were breaking open. Keanu's heart felt full. Jonas's new chapter was just starting. There's more, Keanu said, pushing another folder. I talked to your daughter Lila in Portland. She wants you close, but you'll stay here. He tapped the folder. This is a deed to a house 3 blocks away. Yours. No rent, no mortgage. Jonas opened it, saw his name on the papers, and cried big, deep tears. Why? He whispered. Keanu's voice cracked. Because you showed me what really matters. People, not money. Jonas held Keanu's hand. Faye Jonathan thankful. Keanu stepped out and told everyone in the cafe, starting today, Harmony Cafe will pay living wages, give full benefits, and have an emergency fund for every worker. No one here will choose between bills and helping others. Cheers filled the room. Tara wiped tears. Sophie came forward with an envelope. We collected this for Jonas, she said. Keanu smiled. Use it to start the Jonas Lawson Fund for anyone who needs help. The crowd roared Jonas's name. He was now a beacon of hope. Keanu looked at Jonas, dazed but smiling, and felt the cafe's heartbeat as he gave egg again. Weeks later, Jonas walked into Harmony Cafe taller and proud. His manager badge shone bright. He had a new home nearby. Cuz hankers greeted him. Kids waved. The cafe was warm, real, not pretending. Keanu stayed close, helping and visiting often. His good changes spread to other cafes. Derek and Vera's names faded away as a warning. Jonas had shown everyone how kindness can rebuild a community. As he poured coffee for Hank, smiling, Keanu knew this was Harmony's true story, built on love, not lies. If you like this story, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun adventures and mysteries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.